Okay, so our app is basically an all-in-one app. That's what AIO stands for. It encompasses fitness tracking with your macro tracking for diet and also sleep tracking. And our vision statement was that we wanted to make an app that will allow a user to easily track their fitness with their workouts, calorie consumption, and macro intake, as well as create routines and schedules for their daily or monthly workout schedules. So our use cases that we have are going to be, the ones that I did were the 1 rep max logger, the login, and the enter user information. And with the 1 rep max logger, what it is basically, it gets your max rep, like 1 rep max for any type of workout, and then it'll get percentages off of that, like 85% of the 1 rep max, 75%, 65%, and so on and so forth. And with that, it'll gauge how many reps you should do for each workout, if you're trying to bulk or if you're trying to lean out. And our other, my other use case would be login, which would be like login authentication, where I would, where the app would get the user's login combination of password and username and check out the database, see if it matches and so on. And enter user information would be the main core piece of our application, where it'll encompass the user bio, which has the BMI, the food intake, the calorie intake, the gym intake, or the gym workouts stuff.
So the 3 use cases that I did were create routine, create schedule, and generate routine. And what those do are generate workout routine. So pretty much a routine is a collection of exercises. And to generate a routine, all the user has to do is prompt that generation, and it's going to ask for how many exercises you want to do. For each exercise, it's going to add in the title of the exercise, the type of it, how many sets, how many reps, and how much weight you're going to do. It's going to add each routine, and you're going to be able to add those routines to a schedule. So for the schedule and create schedule, you will lay out a duration of how long you want the schedule to last, and it should create an empty schedule, calendar-based. And what it's going to do is allow you to add any routine that you've created to that schedule. The last one would be generate workout routine, which would be a system-generated routine. That kind of uses the calculations from enter user information. It's going to take those percentages that he was talking about on your 1 rep max and add routines based on the type that the user enters. So a user will enter a type of lift, it'll go and check their 1 rep max, and then give them the appropriate amount of weight and reps for that exercise. The routine will be returned, and the user can then add that to a schedule.
The 3 use cases I did were the food, sleep, and gym diary entries. The food diary is going to be where you can go in and you can say, okay, I had breakfast on this day and it was, a burrito or something. And then that you can enter in the calories and the macros you get from that. The gym diary is going through, and you can select a date and a routine, and you can select how much you actually did within that, so you can log your actual workout to compare it with what you planned on your schedule. And then the sleep diary is just entering in the amount of sleep you get during the night, or you can log different naps. And the idea is that you can take aggregate information from these. So for user info, it would pull in, how many calories you had for the week from the food diary, how many hours of sleep, etc. So for our requirements, the very first one is non-functional, and it is an intuitive user interface. We just wanted people to be able to go in and get to where they needed, get the information they wanted quickly, and without having to fumble around.
Our second requirement will be a functional requirement, which encapsulates the calculations of all the calories, the macros, and the percentages of your 1 rep max. We want those calculations to be quick and fast for the user, so that it's efficient and easy to read. And on top of that, that's pretty much our system needs to be fast for the user to see its progress.
Yeah, and going off the calculations and stuff, we'd have to make it reliable as well. So then, if the user enters in a certain amount of calories, the calculation will come out to where you're lifting appropriate weight, or you're eating an appropriate amount of food, because you don't want, the user to get fat if they're trying to get skinny. And then for privacy, we have we can't have any other users see other information with other users.
Right. So this is.
Yeah, so this is going to be part of our use case diagram where it just encapsulates the one rep max logger, the login and user info. And you see how it can build the gym info, the BMI, and the diet info, plays along with his diet. And yeah, these are.
So within the user info, this is going to be where you have all of your logs compared to your schedules and stuff. So the diet info, that will be your food log and calorie calculations. The gym info will be your exercise log, as well as your schedules and your routines. And then the BMI is going to be a calculation of the user information based on your height and weight.
So this is our class diagram that sort of shows how all of the classes are fitting together. And so you can see that there will be, like a diary superclass that the different ones pull from, schedules related to the routine and vice versa. And you guys have any comments on that?
As you can see, all of the classes kind of branch off from the user info because all of the calculations and recorded data is going to be inputted back into that user info so that it's easy for the user to see its progression and track the progression.
Right. This goes into detail on one of our use cases. I think you wrote this one, right?
Yeah, this is our system sequence diagram where you access when the user will open the application, they will go into the login window interface where they'll enter the information, and which will connect to the database to see if it's the correct combination or not. And then if it is, then it'll grant access to the application. Otherwise, it'll continue to loop for 5 attempts to see if you get the right information or not.
And then this just goes into detail on that, but we won't bore you by reading into it. You can see all of our fully addressed use cases on our documentation on our GitHub. And this is just one of our wireframes to show the basic layout of the application. And so you'll see the different tabs at the top, and this will show, it'll be the main page will be your profile, which has all of your stats and aggregates, and then you can go into your diaries, your schedule, your routines, and one rep max to do those specific information or enter in information.
We wanted our navigation to be easy to use. As you can see for profile, it's going to give you all that info that you've inputted. So this is kind of going to be like your main personal data. And then within diaries, schedules, routines, that's where you're going to be able to edit as well as see your routines and schedules. We didn't want to break it into 2 different interfaces for editing and viewing just because we thought that would be too much for the user to kind of navigate through. We wanted to make it as easy as possible for the user to input and see its progression. And you can see the rest of our wireframes if you'd like to see the details of the other sections on our GitHub as well. And that concludes our presentation. You have any questions?
Yeah, I have questions regarding the use case diagram. Could you go back?
This or the...
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, this use case. And you have here link extend. But I don't think this is extend because if you're displaying, if you have wrong password, it means that you inserted the password and the procedures goes normally. You just get the message. Because extend is like more something external, like an interrupt call.
Mm-hmm.
So just look on this very small issue, and then if you go to next section, I was thinking that you will be storing effectively duplicates in your application over the time, because I can imagine that all of us can have a bread on breakfast, and it has the very same amount of calories. So, did you consider having a database or a table of food and nutrition, because it doesn't differ that much?
Right. Yes, we were thinking about that. We were thinking that the user could enter in information about the food and then later on select from that?
In our extended wireframes, you can see for each of the routines and schedules and stuff, it's gonna have user input for each new entry for your food diary will include the name of the food, the calories, and the macros as well.
Yeah. I just wanted to, sort of push you into an evaluation of these two solutions, because both of them are valid, but both of them has some drawbacks and advantages. I think that for you, it's simply more customized. You don't have this huge search in the database, right? When you have to match certain record with what a user wants, and then those options may vary. So it's a trade-off. So think guys, and very impressive. I like this idea.
Thank you.
It's very good, complicated.
Any other questions? Thank you guys so much.
Thank
This
you.
is our project.